like well over 20. So lots of people running this. It's gonna be fun. And we're off.
Divergence already, and we have P-Train with a B, and that's a very quick map check. We have 5-6 crystals in the light world, Eastern and Desert respectively. We'll see if that turns into anything. It may not.
That also means all 3 pendants are gonna be in the Dark World today. And yeah, like even though both 5-6 crystals are in the light world, that does not necessarily mean that the Pyramid Fairy might even come into play. Especially with Desert. Desert is always like one of those weird dungeons where you can get the access to it very late into the game.
Yeah, it depends on how the seed rolls, and our level 1 tree pool is bombs. Our runners are going to be able to take advantage of that and get bombs very quickly.
Just the blue rupee on the lumberjack ledge.
Yeah, bloopy lumberjack.
Yep.
Not going to be fussed over that.
Yeah, what are we going to do with a nickel? But we did find much more cash on Uncle. He brought his wallet.
Yeah, he had the Giant's wallet.
And of course, with the B, that means we are going to be able to route Sick in with the regular Kakariko checks.
Well, it's unfortunate that it's not the good B, because you could sell that at the bottle vendor for 100 rupees and then give him the 100 back for something else.
Yeah, and we can tell it's not a good B because the good B's inventory sprite, the bottle with the B inside of it, has a little plus sign on it. You can't see like when you pick it up whether it's a good B or a regular one, but in the inventory or like and while you have it selected, like P-Train has here, you can see.
So we are having some technical difficulties on Signum's side. We're hoping that those get resolved soon. In the meantime, we are in Kakariko Village.
Indeed. So far, we have not found any particular items, but of course, Kakariko has the big item densities.
Well, we did just get powder, which by itself isn't going to do anything, because we still need a way to get to the magic bat, but certainly will be helpful.
It's also a nice convenience item to stay alive, especially in the Dark World dungeons where anti-fairies and bunny beans are very common. It also means the runners don't have to decide whether to do fake powder or not should they find the mushroom of Volcano Samaria, so that's also good.
Yeah, it is, because there is always that off chance that if you find mushroom, hammer, and Cane of Samaria before you find powder, that fake powder could be something. Admittedly, it is an off chance, but I've seen it happen a couple of times, and both of them that I've seen it, I was calming a race where Nin Taylor was on Restream. Talk about irony.
Speaking of magic, though, half magic in the well. Otherwise, just a couple more rupees. Yeah, half magic is a great luxury item. It allows us to use our magical weapons once we have them a bit more liberally. So that's good. And should we have to do Silverless Master Sword Ganon? Having half magic is much of a relief there as well.
It is, because Silverless Master Sword without half magic, you basically have to get Torch Glitch unless you have backup potions. Because if you miss it, you might as well just restart the fight. Oh my goodness, the sick kid has the flute. This seed's about to pick up in pace.
Well, with that means we don't even have to like find the flute and then walk back to Kakariko. We can just walk over to the statue and activate the duck.
Which P-Train is off to do right now.
Yeah, this makes routing a little faster. Stuff like Ice Shard Cave, we can flute to 8, that cuts down on the walk we have to take. And Agina, Desert Ledge Check also are a lot more appealing with the flute.
As our other runners are activating their flute, P-Train is already on the way to check the library and the race. We shall see what those hold, if any.
Indeed.
Piece of
Just a
heart?
heart piece, yeah.
Probably not, unless you're about to fill a container.
This also means we can go to Death Mountain. We can't do much up there, but we can go up there.
And
But
the
we're
race
gonna
game was
see-
just 20 rupees. JP opting to buy bombs. Not a bad play. Except when the
Yeah.
except when the damn chest is vanilla 3-pack of bombs.
So here's an important question to you, Leslie. Do you like doing the dam switch first, and then you go back in and open the chest, or do you pick up the chest first and then you go back in to hit the switch?
Well, we just got a mirror. So wow.
that would have made the chest a bit faster, yeah.
Yeah, that would have made things a lot faster by a wide margin. While El Tiger is going to Agina, P-Train not far behind, opting to walk instead of using the flute. Interesting decision there. And that's
Yes,
a hard
but
container.
the Desert Ledge check would have been much faster with the flute. But just a hard container. Depending on like when we get there, if we still are pretty low on like defenses, the runners might opt to pick it up. And speaking of safety items, there is a blue cane in Agina's cave.
Well, that isn't terrible to find, as that is a safety item and also a means of taking down blind.
Yep. But we don't even have a single piece of Dark Relaxes yet.
Interesting that we have not seen Mini Moldorm Cave.
Yeah, the runners opting to do these desert checks first because they can route that in, and then can flute to the Mini Moldorm Cave and then Ice Road Cave. So just like a little optimization of the routing here. But we are going to see the Mini Moldorm Cave here. And P-Train is opting to use the Beast Rats.
Not a bad idea, but the bee only did 5 points of damage to the 4 Moldorms, taking out 2 before deciding it's time for me to go home and rest. There's our Moon Pearl.
Yeah. Some refill on bombs. And some pocket change.
Literally just 1 rupee. Although that mirror pickup does intrigue me to a degree, because now there's a chance that Hera could have something. We may not be able to finish Hera because we don't have a fire source and we don't have a means of damaging the boss. However, that still doesn't mean that the chance of finding something there is one that should be ignored.
And we have been exchanging runners here in the bottom left. Instead of signups, we now have Old Man Sunshine on the restream. Naturally using the Old Man Sprite.
Good choice. And, ooh, that is a power glove. Do not leave Ice Rod Cave behind, folks, in this race, because that would be a bad idea.
Yeah.
I would know. I did that once and did a seed lampless as a result.
So P-Train is setting up the fake flippers here. While Old Man Sunshine is gonna go and make their way over to the eastern area.
Not so fast. This is an island check.
Well, yes. First checking the island, then I think that was a shield.
Yeah, looked like a shield. And we do have
Yeah.
back of escape in play as P-Train is about to see Waterfall Fairy. This is out of logic, but with Moon Pearl, we are able to water walk in this cave, assuming, well, that's value right there. That is an Ice Rod and Titan's Mix. P-Train has sequence broke to Dark World access. Flippers may not be too far behind, as Green Pendant is Swamp Palace. We already have Miro.
Nothing of particular value here in Saha's closet, though, sadly. And the hammer was in back of escape here.
That's a heck of a find for JP, so Dark World access is now his as well, albeit in a different way than P-Train.
Let's hope that P-Train remembers to go to the back of escape soon, because Titan's Mitts may lead him to doing Dark World first.
Nah, he's going back of escape right now. It's a very smart play, but with the Titan's Mitts, he could have lifted up that darker boulder and actually gotten to that about a second faster. But still, that might have been force of habit, because usually you don't have Titan's Mitts when you make that check.
And like so much divergence here, we have Old Man Sunshine going into Eastern Palace, making a dip here. We see the Dark World map check. I saw dependence on Skull Woods and Channel Rock, the other two.
Meanwhile, is Hype Cave going to live up to the hype that was AGDQ 2020? Well, there's a lamp. I am going to say no, even though the lamp does help.
It's a decent Hype Cave. Lamp is always nice. Cave. And for all we know, that might be our like fire source for the longest time. Maybe the fire rod is like super deep in logic and locked behind the lamp. So you know.
I was thinking it could have been our fire source for potentially Hera Basement. Rather, I almost said the wrong Death Mountain dungeon. Meanwhile, Early Mirror makes routing in checks like K45 rather simple, which makes JP's decision to go south route pretty solid. That's a rupee horde, definitely worth picking up.
Yeah, we still haven't paid off Sora, and there's some other expenses that we want to cover. 300 stashes are mostly enough to cover most of them, with like various other rupee amounts we might find. So like those 730 that GP has pretty much covers everything that we might want to do, like dig game, chess game, pod access, etc.
True that, but still anything extra on top of that generally goes towards anything else you might buy, like potions, bombs, etc. As Old Man Sunshine now picks up their hammer.
And JP finds a sword in the digging game.
Nice. That always helps, as El Tiger is our first runner to take on a boss. It is Moldorm. It is 3 whacks to the tail with the hammer, and done. Moldorm is down.
Yeah, it's a lot of divergence here in this seed so far.
And that's a small key. I was not paying attention to what was being picked up on the Hera climb, so I don't know if basement has an item or not. There is each. That's going to be a return trip with the lantern, potentially.
Yeah, one of our trackers, shout out to them, Mrs. Scruff Ninja Tuna and Saphir, mentioning that indeed there is an item in the basement, and yes, Blue Mail was in Eastern Palace.
That was just 7 digs for the sword. That's a really good digging game, because
Oh,
the
yeah.
RNG for that on seed generation could be anywhere between 1 and 30.
And it usually is, like, at least it feels like it usually is more than 20.
That's basically like vanilla NMG right there. Because in the vanilla NMG, the item spawns into the digging field randomly after the 15th dig.
And we're seeing Tiger going to do East Side Death Mountain with the hammer and mirror. That's all in logic. Sadly, Tiger did not pick up the mitt from the fake flipper from the waterfall cave earlier, which means that they cannot do the Dark Death Mountain checks. I mean, you could only do Super Bunny Cave without the hookshot or boots, but still.
Still, I'm paying attention to this as I am curious as to where the flippers are in logic. We know it's not Smith Chain. And Magic Bat was giving out pieces of heart. Maybe he had a broken heart? I don't know. There's a bug net. Piece of heart, that's the right side of the Paradox Cave 5 with 3 bombs, 3 more bombs, and a piece of heart. So it's not Paradox Cave. It could wind up being Spiral Cave, which, as you're set up now, is a bit of a slow ride.
I mean, with
ahead.
Moon Pearl, Glove, and Hammer all being like, you know, pretty much sphere 1 and 2 checks, it's not. You know, the flippers could be basically anywhere that isn't specifically flipper locked or like Titan Smith locked.
One thought that does come to mind is with Cane of Burna and Half Magic, Spike Cave is accessible.
Mm-hmm.
Whether anybody does that or not, hard to say. Spike Cave's one of those checks where when you do check it, it's nothing, and when you don't check it, it's something.
Schrodinger's Spike Cave, so to speak. And lots of 300 rupee stashes here in this seed.
The one in the wine cellar is also there in the vanilla game, interestingly enough. Seeing lots of 3-bomb chests in this particular seed. I can't be the only one who's noticed that, and chat is pointing out that there is an item in Skull Woods locked behind the fire rod, which could be the chest entering the final area, or it could be on Mothula, as our chest game holds the Quake Medallion.
Whoops, sorry, that was unintended.
It happens.
Yes, Saphir is also one of our trackers, of course. So they are keeping us up to date with things we might have missed, specifically counting items.
So on the right side, we have JP going in Thieves Town, while El Tiger is doing the front of Hyrule Castle. Purple chest only being 50 rupees.
What a rich seed.
Yeah, money's definitely not the issue in this scene, no doubt about it.
And P-Train also making the plunge into Thieves Town. So we're actually, I think this is the first time since like the start that two of our runners are converging and not like doing different things at the same time. A Tiger is doing the front of escape here and found the Bombos medallion in the first chest.
Yep, that was in the map chest where the Bombos medallion resided. Now, that is that does mean that Ice Palace is only a short ways away in logic, but we still haven't found where the flippers are, but really, logic is only a suggestion. At times.
Man, imagine if it was vanilla flippers.
That would be the ultimate Zora scam.
Alright, was about to say Chippy has to be careful here, but Powder's the anti-fairy and back to full health. Of course, since Old Man Sunshine so far has been the only person who was in Eastern Palace so far, they're the only one who got the blue mail, so everybody else is still rocking that green.
Worth noting that when doing the Hyrule Castle checks, having the mirror does speed things up considerably, because without the mirror, you're basically taking a death warp after the ball and chain guy and Zelda's cell chest. Just so you can do this check, Dark Cross. Nice dodging of the ropes there. And that dodging of the ropes is rewarded with a piece of heart, but that was well done.
Let's see where Tiger is gonna go next. I guess Dark Roll is probably one of the first. Oh, Death Mountain, I guess. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, have we seen the old man? I'm actually not sure.
Can't say that I know for sure. Meanwhile, P-Train had to throw a second bomb to destroy the floor in Thieves Town, and I've only seen that happen once, and it happened to me during a race. What causes that, I wonder?
I've never seen it before, so I don't know.
Questions to answer later, as the old man gives us a sword. So now when P-Train goes that way and L-Tiger does the digging game, they'll have Master Sword.
Which seems very likely, considering that Tiger is going the path towards the Dark World portal. Of course, has to go the long way around because does not have the mitts yet.
So now Blind's got a joke for us. And I missed it.
It said, I can't search the web, there's too many links.
Well, that's kind of fitting, all things considered.
Well, to be fair, we only have one link here on the screen, at least.
That pun warrants a GG for me, by the way.
And down goes Blind, rewarding us with a compass and a crystal.
Now I'm just waiting for a pun about a goose to somehow find its way into this game. Or maybe that's GDQ on the brain. I don't know. I just think it would be fit.
I think Chad already makes enough goose puns whenever the flute is activated.
There's also good emotes for that. Case in point.
Oh, we have a novelty name in chat as well.
As L-Tiger goes down, I believe that was a death. That was intentional. To get health back and get out of there, which makes sense. Because sometimes the mirror doesn't help for getting out of a dungeon if you're low on health and you need to just take that dive to get health back.
Yeah, considering like the path to the backside there, like those weird pudding-looking dudes. I forgot their name. Those enemies those do a lot of damage with green mail. So plus, like the Giptus here, it's better to just take the dive, die, and
It makes sense. I don't know the name. I know what enemy you're talking about too. Those things, along with the murder dactyls, hurt a lot.
Yeah. And we're gonna see the Mire area here from P-Train. I did not catch what the Mire medallion was, but just 2 big 20s here in the shed, and we're gonna see check. Bombos apparently is the medallion for Mire. So once the runners go into the front of escape, they can access this dungeon.
A 100 rupee stash at Checkerboard Cave. And yes, front of escape is required in this seat as Old Man Sunshine comes up with the Quake Medallion. Graveyard Ledge, what do we got? This is on JP's side, and that's just 10 arrows. No thank you.
And P-Train is making the play to check into Desert. That makes a lot of sense. We will know if boots are going to be required, at least for clearing this dungeon. So it's definitely a good check. And even if they're not, then P-Train can just clear it. Oh, they
might be,
yeah.
Clearing.
We still are on shredding us desert access here. If the big key is in this chest, that we are able to access.
Yep, we can clear it.
Yeah, for the items though, it is going to be boot stock. Now the question is P-Train going to steal the key to open the items on the right wing, or is he going to just go to the boss?
It's a good question. Well, there's a bow, so
Ooh.
Desert is looking like a logical double dip, as apparently the boss is boot locked by logic, but in this case, that's merely a suggestion. But what that bow does is it opens up Pod and Eastern to be finished, which, with the equipment setup that P-Train has, is literally going to be a case of finish Pod, mirror, deal with Eastern. It's really efficient routing. Highly recommended.
Yeah, but first, gonna grab that red crystal from the Lamolus. We're probably gonna see Ice Rod strats here, which is something I really like because the Ice Rod, like, outside of Trinix, comes out so rarely.
Very efficient lighting of the torches by P-Train, as JP does have the Master Sword. We're about to see something a little different. Ice Rod strats, which for this boss does the same amount of damage as the Fire Rod, but it is a much slower projectile, so look at it this way. I'm a baseball fan, and it's basically, I'll put it like this. The Fire Rod's the fastball, the Ice Rod is the changeup. So P-Train basically beat him with the changeup.
Well, to be fair though, the Fire Rod has a limit on how many projectiles can be on screen with it, while the Ice Rod does not. You can spam the Ice Rod to heaven and back. And it also does the same damage to Argus as the Fire Rod does, so... I think the Ice Rod is also the intended way for beating the Lamolus in vanilla.
That isn't... Now that you mention it, I think you're right, because in vanilla, when you get Green Pendant, Sahasrama mentions that there's an item in a cave in Southeast Lake Hylia to go get it. Now, NMG speedruns don't typically get this item until way later because, let's just say the skill in those runs is just insane.
Yeah. And as you projected, P-Train is indeed going to do Pod, possibly chaining it in with Eastern. We'll see which of the two he's going to do first. While the other runners are retracing each other's steps.
JP had a poke on Moldorm, so we briefly saw an enraged Moldorm, but the rage has been calmed. Question is, what's the item?
My death. Yeah, I don't think any of the other runners who have done Tower Terror have gone back into the basement. Let's see if JP decides to check the base.
That's
That might be those
because-
flippers we're looking for the mids.
Possibly. Although it is worth noting that the other two runners did not have a fire source, so this could also be the fire rod too. I've seen that happen a few times as Old Man Sunshine is taking a hammer to blind. Viable strat, but without Blue Cane, this is the only option they have.
Well, I mean, Sunshine does not have a sword yet, so yeah. But I thought Sunshine had the cane. I'm actually not sure.
We can check on a pause menu. It's no big
Yeah.
deal.
So we're gonna see Pod here from P-Train.
Lots of small keys in the front, as it is tradition.
Yeah, there.
That
in
means
front,
there's also-
the front of Pod has 6 chests or 6 item locations rather, and well, those are our chests. 6 locations, and at least 4 of them have to be small keys. So if you find 2 non-small keys, whether it's a dungeon item or like a regular item, then you know the rest of the chests are gonna be keys. And we found 1 at least because I saw the big key was in one of those chests.
Also worth noting that Harvard Basement had a heart container, so that's going to help JP out in the health department as Old Man Sunshine gets their sword from the digging game. That's one.
Yeah, it's I don't think it's worth going to Harvard Basement for a heart container, but of course we would know.
Well, when
And
you
there's
don't
the
know what
second
the item
item.
is, yeah, when you don't know what the item is, you just go for it and you don't give it any second thought.
Yeah. Alright, so we have found a small shield here on P-Train's side as the second item in the front. So the rest, yeah, backside, lots of items there. But not as many as it could be.
It'll be interesting to see where they come up with the remaining keys. Like, if you do not go to Harmless Hellway and you have 2 keys left, then you know that there's a key there. So that's one way to save time on checking items. As we
But,
get a hammer yoke from P-Train, and he gets a Master Sword. That's going to be a tempered sword for JP once he heads that way.
Yeah. And P-Train, once P-Train delivers the old man, will also get a tempered sword. So it seems very likely that all of our runners are going to have at least a tempered sword to go with.
Which endgame, that's the way to go, because Master Sword gaining, silverless or otherwise, is not fun.
Yeah. And the question comes up if we need to fire out this seed. No. Actually, no. Well, yeah, for G, yeah, that's right. For GT, well, actually,
Aren't all of those torches available with the lamp? But you have to like.
There's the flippers in Pod's basement, and P-Train's bailing. Heading to the
right.
boss.
Yeah, right. The upper part is for the upper part you can do with you can't do with the lamp. But of course, we would like to have the fire out because it's
Yeah, it makes things easier, but the upper parts are definitely doable. Right side is technically not in logic with just the lamp. However, I have seen a bomb jump setup where you can do it. It's just ridiculously tight in terms of timing, is my understanding of it. And Spike Cave was a dead 20 rupees.
and ALTTP is now also making the play into Pod. Has not gotten the bow out of the desert yet, though. Of course, so logically, this is actually a required double dip.
True, but it's not a true. But unlike some double dips, this is actually not a hard double dip where you can't break it. This is one where yes, you got a bit of a workaround, but you're not going to realize it till after the fact potentially.
I mean, to get the bow, you would have, unless we find a bow elsewhere, you would have had to get the mitts to get to desert, and we need the flippers for the mitts, and the flippers are hot. So unless you fake flippered and got the mitts out of the waterfall cave, logically speaking, this is a double dip.
Yep, that is correct. As P-Train, our first runner to take on the Helmasaur King.
Indeed,
Fireball, not nice, but one of them did go off screen, so that does help. And then this one would disappear as soon as the mask breaks. There we go. Ooh, hammer strats. 4 for 4, nicely done.
down goes King Helmasaur for P-Train. What does he guard?
Another rupee horde. This is a loaded scene. Holy smokes.
I think there's like 4 or 5 300 rupee stashes, right? I think we've seen all of them by this point.
Yeah. I think it's 4.
Yeah, I think so too. That said, JP got hit by an enemy, so it has to bring Kiki back. Of course, we have plenty of money for it, but still a pain to go back. No, we haven't seen anybody check Sora. Not Zorledge.
Although we might be approaching that point where we see it soon, because some good routing for that would be go check Cap in this situation, and I can see JP doing this potentially, is go check Catfish, mirror into Waterfall Cave, into Zora's Domain.
Yeah. And then flew to 8 and check out Ho or something. To get those out of the way. Actually, I might just jump into the water and like go from there or something. There's ways to get to Hobo.
You can also mirror exiting Pod to get to Hobo. It's a way that I use sometimes as P-Train gets blue mail. Also, speaking of money, how about the folks at HEDQ over the past week raising $3.13 million to fight cancer? Absolutely impressive. And I'm already looking forward to the summer marathon.
Oh, yes. Some very impressive and funny showings there as well.
VODs to watch later as El Tiger gets their flippers. I definitely need to watch the awful block. But that's for another time.
Of course, with the lamp, this dark room, like this dark room's already like very easy to the vanilla picky in Eastern, but with the lamp, even easier.
Yeah, if you're learning dark rooms, this is a good sequence to learn first.
This is like the only dark room I can reliably do.
This old man Sunshine is doing the mirror, not going in. Oh, wait, no flippers, never mind. Maybe gambling on vanilla. But we're about to see this area for the first time.
Yep.
50 rupees on the ledge. Yeah, unless this is like Boots or Fire Rod, it's probably a scam, I would think.
As usual, it is probably going to be a scam. So, and we're going to see the back of Easton here from P-Train. Still, so far, the only one who has been able to get the bow from those mids in Waterfall Cave.
And apparently King Zora's heart was broken because he's selling broken hearts. If P-Train does do front of escape sooner rather than later, then that will just increase their lead on the seed. And I could see that being routed in after Big Ball. Potentially.
Yeah.
Oh, there's the boots!
Ooh.
So now Desert was a logical double dip too!
Would you consider this French vanilla?
Technically, I would because the green pendant leads to it, but instead, we just cut out the middleman in this scene.
Yeah. Screws, we don't need you. I mean, we might need you for another item, but not right now. Not
Now
for,
P-Train's going to check Saha. I thought he was just going there to rub it in or something.
Question in chat, what does French vanilla refer to? Vanilla is when an item is where it's meant to be. So say the bow in the big chest of Eastern Palace. French vanilla refers to if an item is in the same dungeon but not in the exact chest. So say, to stick with the bow, if you find the bow in Eastern but not in the big chest.
Yeah, like you find it in Cannonball Run or in the big chest.
Yeah.
For example. Although in this case with the boots, we call it that because the green pendant does lead to the boots in vanilla. So that's where that came from. It's now P-Train has Tempered Sword, first of our featured run. No, second, excuse me. Third. Jesus, I'm missing all sorts of stuff right now. Wow!
All swords and stuff, yeah.
I see what you did there.
Yeah. And up the mountain P-Train goes. P-Train has not been up here yet. Can also do Hera and the light Death Mountain, but also can use those mitts to get to Dark Death Mountain. Will be able to do Super Bunny Cave and the bottom chest in Hookshot Cave, and we're probably gonna see a Treble Rock check as well while we're there.
At this point, I could very easily see Green Pendant Swamp being a play, but once P-Train does get Bombos, then Ice Palace goes into play. But the question is, what happens first? L-Tiger catching up on Crystal Count, or P-Train getting to, or JP even catching up on Crystal Count?
I mean, now that we found the boots, and we know where Bombos is, Misery Mire also technically is open. We can't complete it because we're missing the King of Samaria, but it is there. And depending on key logic, Ice Palace also could be Samaria logically.
But we all have a means around that trick, and it's one
yeah.
I highly recommend learning if you don't know Ice Palace Bomb Jump.
For now, though, we're gonna see Ho-Oh. I don't think we've seen that one yet. And
There's a piece of heart, the catfish, which I didn't see earlier. It's another bee in a bottle, but L-Tiger's like, nah, I'm good. And now we have Mitts and Ice Rod for El Tigre. This could be a play to Ice Palace to knock that out, or it could also be a play to go into Desert. We shall see.
Well, I imagine the first thing that El Tigre is gonna do after getting the Sora stuff here is going to be checking the Mire Shed, because that's like a super fast check.
Yeah, that I agree. That's a super quick check, and you can go right into Desert too.
I think that mushroom that El Tigre is playing is supposed to be like the vine sauce lover or something. And P-Train making their way over to the eastern side of that map. Gets Dead Rock.
Yeah, those dead
Everybody's
rocks are...
favorite enemy. Power up with Pride Mascot, apparently. Thank you, Lilifan.
Thank you for that. And that's a very good choice, I might add. Now, by virtue of having boots, P-Train's movement here is going to be much faster than other runners that have been up here, as JP now has Bombos.
Yep, making P-Train the only one who has to go to the front of escape still to grab those.
To answer your question in chat, yes, you can. However, the dead rock has to be moving. If the dead rock is purple because it's stunned, then it's not going to work. And yes, Quake also works on dead rocks as well as a few other enemies, like those Pengators and Ice Palace. If they're not jumping, you can just use Quake Medallion and you clear the whole screen.
Yeah. That's one of my favorite strats of 5 Quake when I go into Ice Palace.
Same here, especially if I do not have a tempered sword, but that is another story for another time, as El Tigre now has the big key for desert, about to
Indeed.
get their bow.
And Old Man Sunshine, the last runner here to get the tempered sword out of the big chest in Pod. Of course, as said, neither of them have the bow yet. Tigre is probably going to get it eventually. Probably after beating the boss, going to go back in and clear out the rest.
Although as brought up in chat, one more thing about Pengators, yes, bombs are indeed viable.
Yeah, bombs are kill Pengators in one hit, and they're a lot faster, but I'm bad at this game, so that's why I use Quake.
So we have all 4 swords accounted for, as P-Train is now up to butter.
Indeed, gonna pick up, or like rather see what the medallion requirement for TR is. It's also Bombos. So Bombos the multi-key here for everything that might require medallions. Both entries and possibly Ice Palace.
Yep, today Bombos is the one medallion to rule them all.
The multi-pass of medallions, so to speak.
You got a hover attempt.
Oh, hover. Very good. That was... Yeah, you can bonk over there.
One more for the Gipper. Hold it off. Very well done. Might not have been any progression, but that was impressive.
Yeah. So let's see where P-Train is headed next as they go to Sanctuary. Oh, Kingstomb and Bonk Rocks. The Sanctuary, of course. With the boots in tow, those are very quick checks.
And it's another bee in a bottle. I believe we've accounted for all 4.
Yeah, all 4 had bees in them. All 4 bottles as well.
And if you throw an empty bottle into the fairy, you are getting green goo. Which is also a randomizable element.
Yeah. The fairy can give you any of the 6 items that can be in a bottle, and it's completely randomized. But I think all fairy pools give you the same, if I remember correctly. So
Sounds right to me.
yeah, so if you throw the bottle into the pyramid fairy's pond, she also will give you in this seed a green goo. Which is, not a bad item to have. Old Man Sunshine is not very happy about finding the mitts entire.
I can't say that I blame him. P-Train at this time is doing Pyramid Fairy. Hopefully we'll mirror after this to head to Hyrule Castle.
It seems I think it's a very good chance that happens. Because P-Train doesn't really have that many more options that aren't either diving into Pendant Swamp Palace without a hookshot, or diving into Ice Palace.
P-Train saving the bomb with very tight movement. That is not... I'm impressed by that. We do have an Ice Palace play on JP's side. We'll see if this yields anything. Boots were on the Armos Knights.
Yeah, this was a really nice...
and it's red mail. No, the other fairy's putting bees back in the bottle. Or did that bottle already have a bee in it? I couldn't tell.
And P-Train is indeed mirroring over, gonna do Front of Escape and find the bombos here. But yeah, that was a really nice bomb duplication glitch here on P-Train's side for that Pyramid Fairy. Oh, P-Train never did Uncle either. Interesting.
Yeah, some runners will hold off on doing Uncle in open mode. Sometimes it pays off, sometimes it doesn't. So we do have runners that are duplicating check. Outside of Ice Palace, as JP setting up for Ice Palace Bomb. If you feel so inclined, please give our runners a follow. They are definitely the stars of this show here. They are definitely putting on a heck of a show and doing this seed a heck of a number.
And Old Man Sunshine is gonna go get their bow momentarily here. JP is still on the search for a bow or something else that they can use for progression.
That is a tough staircase to navigate, and it does not help that there's a fire bar coming at you either.
Yeah, some runners like using the sword or the hammer to, navigate a bit easier through those ice floor rooms. But that staircase noise. Oh.
JP comes up with the hook shot. That is probably the first not-so-nice item location we've seen this seed. I mean, you could argue flippers leading to Ice Rod, and Titan's Mitts is one of them. I wouldn't blame you, but you could have sequence broke that one. This one, there was no sequence break unless you didn't get flippers.
Yeah, that said, I'm not sure this is going to help JP a lot, because JP wants to do... did JP get the... Yeah, okay, they get the Ice Rod and the mitts. Of course he got the mitts, because otherwise he... of course he got the mitts, otherwise he couldn't do Ice Palace. But that might leave JP away from doing Desert Palace, which is where the bow is, and,
Although, let's think about this for a sec, as P-Train does buy a bomb upgrade. Those capacity upgrades are where they were moved to, or rather moved back to, as of version 30 of the logic, as it costs 100 rupees a pop. Sometimes I will buy it. Sometimes I will buy an arrow upgrade if the situation warrants it. In this case, P-Train went for a bomb upgrade to not only increase capacity, but get the full refill, which helps when you say going to use arrows on Vitreous, going for Ice Palace Bomb Jump. Situational, but still very much worth your time in those situations.
And Lanmolas goes down for Old Man Sunshine here.
El Tigre having a bit of trouble with Yarmos quick kills. Gonna wind up enraging one of them, I believe.
Yeah, looks like that's gonna be the case. But even enraged, Armos lines are not much of a challenge. So boots have been acquired for El Tigre. And we're gonna see Cold Steer here on JP's side. Using the bombos, since we do not have Fire Rod. And keeps them nicely in the corner for a few swings. Oh, that's a pretty clean fight overall, I would say.
It is.
Yeah, given the lack of Fire Rod, it is most definitely a very clean fight.
Indeed.
And of course, Old Man Sunshine, now with the bow, is gonna go backtrack to clear the bosses of Pod and Eastern.
But now we know that that Ice Palace was definitely required to get the hook shot, but how required was it? We shall see, because we could potentially have an item in Green Pendant Swamp, but it looks like JP is in the desert area, probably checks both dungeons. We haven't seen the inside of Mire yet. This will get them their bow, too.
Yep. There's the hookshot for P-Train.
Misses the reverse bomb jump to get over, so it's gonna have to go around here. Bit of a time loss, but not the worst thing that could have happened. Now, unfortunately, that is one of the downfalls of doing Ice Palace Bomb Jump in Ice Palace, is that when you go down to floor 5, you have to go down to 6 to get back up to the other side of 5. It's a bit of a pain, admittedly.
Honestly, Ice Palace is one of those dungeons that I just can't wrap my brain around. It's so intertwined.
I'm sure folks who played this game way back when in the 90s feel the exact same way.
Oh, yes. I played this game when it came out as a kid, and this dungeon was my bane. But, now at least I know, like, roughly where I go, but it's still a pain. That said, JP, luckily is not so distracted by the hookshot to go elsewhere, is diving into this palace here, and will find their bow as well.
Also worth noting that Blue Mail turned that Dragon Knight into a Kecleon. I am not exactly sure where that fits in the logic of Pokemon, but
I think there's an actual...
Hey, there's the silver arrows in Mire!
Nice! So that would, since that's a crystal dungeon, everybody's probably gonna find those, so we basically have everything we kind of want We have, like, Rat Mail is one that most people will pick up, if not all of them. Butter, very likely that everybody will pick up Super Bunny Cave, and Silver Arrows in Mire, basically, like, this is like the first chest in Mire you go after anyway. So basically everybody will pick those up too.
So now in the fire-locked portion of Mire, first chest here is the big key. We need that.
Yeah, we still need some Maria as well, though. We have only found one of the items, which is the Silver Arrows. So El Tigre is going to check the other item locations first, before doing the cutscene chest, presumably. Going to the right side here for the big chest, yeah.
Oh, and P-Train with Butter Sword just literally makes mincemeat of Cold Stare. I mean, it's not I mean, basically, Butter Sword makes Cold Stare look like an easy boss.
Oh, yes.
Which, in reality, that's not the case.
Yeah, I think one of the reasons why El Tigre is prioritizing the right side here and not doing the cutscene chest last is partially because of the lamp. Because if we had the fire rod, cutscene chest would be, you know, not that bad. But with the lamp, we have to push the blocks as well.
And that can be done in one cycle while pushing the blocks, but the timing and the movement are pretty tight. That's not going to help. Gotta go downstairs and back up to fix that.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. But everybody is converging into Mire now. Guess that's where the hotness is. So might even be literally the hotness if you find a fire rod.
I see what you did there on that one too. It's also worth noting that the first bow was the first bow in Desert hard required. Out of curiosity. No, you could have gotten your first bow out of Mire if you had sequence broke to get the Titan's Net. So, yeah, there were certainly some options as to how to route these dungeons.
You wouldn't have needed to sequence break to get them Titan's Nets, I think.
Yeah, there would have been a lot of sequence breaks for that one.
Because you could have gotten the flippers, then you could have gotten the mitts and done Ice Palace, or the hook shot, and then you could have gone into Mire.
Basically, I was trying to wrap my brain around it. So I do believe that by way of Sunshine leaving, that Mire wasn't there. So right now, it really is looking like Swamp Palace is likely.
Yeah, we don't have to cane to get to Vitreous or Turtle Rock, so the only option really is Swamp Palace. I think we've seen basically everything else.
Yeah, we have seen the back of Hookshot Cave by courtesy of a P-Train hover. That was not it.
Oh yeah, we haven't seen the second item in Desert Palace since El Tigre is checking it now. That's true. I totally missed that.
This would be the time to check it, admittedly. And it's 50 rupees.
Yeah. Oh well. So yeah, I think Swamp Palace is the only play left to us now. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the only play left to us. So, unfortunately, but not surprisingly, Swamp Palace with its 6 items, 7 if you count the Rain Pendant, has something. We have seen Spike Gift, I think.
We have. It was just a big 20.
Yeah, it was checked fairly early on.
The opportunity to check it early presented itself. One of our runners took it, and unfortunately, this time the early check was not rewarded. We did see Front of Skull Woods. We did get 1 item.
Yeah, there's one item in the
back.
Yeah, there's one item in the far locked side. Wait, is Oh no, I thought it was a lifesaver that LT was using there, but no, just mushroom doing mushroom things.
It is worth noting, well, Old Man Sunshine is checking the basement item. It's gonna be a heart container, which is not gonna be what he's after, but it ain't terrible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Old Man Sunshine has to make the play into Ice Palace, which is what El Tigre is doing for that hookshot, and then we can go into Swamp Palace. Of course, everybody's doing like those checks that they have left behind because of item situations. So P-Train is going back to Desert and checking that one item on the Eastern Wing, and JP is gonna do the Armos and King Helmasaur with that bow that they found. While Old Man Sunshine is doing the basement, as you mentioned. So, yeah. I imagine that once P-Train finds that stash of rupees in the Cannonball here, Cannonball room is going to mirror out and then flute to 4.
Yeah, with P-Train only having Swamp left to do, he's going to be the first of our 4 featured runners to get in there. The question now becomes, and I'm just going to throw this out there as a hypothetical, how far in do you think P-Train's going to have to go? Is it going to be the first chest? Is he going to have to go left side? Or is he going to have to go all the way to Argus or somewhere in between?
I'm going to say the Green Pendant has the Fire Rod and Mothula has the Cane.
Oh my god, that would be dirty! That would be dirty as heck,
hold on.
I could see this rando doing that too.
Hold on. I have something better. The Green Pendant has the Mushroom, the Witch has the Book, the Ether Tablet has the Fire Rod, and Cane is over Mothula.
Oh my goodness! Somebody call up TGE and have him listen to what was just said, because he would want to see that, and that would be epic, if for him at least. For those running the seed, that would be torture, or as he would call it, Schadenfreude.
And somebody asking what's on pet, we don't know, but it can't be the progression item that we're looking for. Because for Go mode, we need only really the Cane of Samaria. The Fire Rod, like, logically, but yeah. And, like, the Cane, of course, can't be on the Cane, neither the Cane nor the Fire Rod could be on pedestal anyway, because both of these items would be required for clearing the Pendant Dungeon. But it's most likely just some couch cash.
Yeah, although the pedestal could be the shovel, which would basically be more better off for Shovel Knight at this point.
For chivalry. Yeah, and there's the confirmation again that the Spike Cave just has 20 rupees.
Well, hello, Fire Rod. It turns out it was in Swamp, but not all the way in.
Well, that opens up one additional item with the Mothula item, or like it's either Mothula or the chest in the back. P-Train is going to not do the left side straight away, and is going to go to the back first. Question is, will P-Train go back in to clear out the rest?
I mean, Fire Rod not necessarily required, but very helpful for Ganon's tower. And P-Train getting the bad news that if you don't find that cane, you might want to do left side swamp, because coming back here after leaving to go elsewhere is a bit of a bear.
For especially considering there's for one, we know there's at least 2 items on the left side swamp. If we count the big chest that was skipped as well. Because we just found the map and compass in the flooded room. And so those 2 definitely open up 2 items on the left side. And also there's only one other item location that we can find, and that's the back of Skull Woods, which we know has 1 item. So 1 for at least 2? I don't know. If Argus is the big key, it's 3 items left in Swamp Palace as well.
And P-Train going for the single hit silver to finish off Argus. Gets it.
Very nice fight.
Gets the book. Well, things are falling in place, but not the way you called it, Red. We've got the book and the Fire Rod opening further options, and Green Pendant is definitely an option at this point as well. So the plot thickens.
Yeah, there's a lot of one-off checks now. And P-Train opts to leave, so we're gonna see the bonus tablet, and then I assume he might hand in the Green Pendant and then do the back of Skullwoods, either Mothula or that chest.
I will note that this is a bit of a gamble, because if Cane of Samaria is left side swamp, he will have to drain the water again, which is a bit of a time loss versus going right back in. That's the shovel!
Oh my god! It's like every single one-off check is gonna open up. So we're probably gonna find a cape next, and then a mushroom.
Bumper Ledge doesn't have anything, though, I think, because I think that was found. It would be the mushroom at this point.
Okay. Let's see what the shovel has for us today. Is it a red stick? It might be a red stick, and it might be a red boomerang, because we haven't found that one yet.
No, it's a piece of heart, so that's
also red. Alright, so we have the Ether Tablet, we have the back of Skullwoods, and we have Sahasrara along with the left side swamp items. So far, everybody else is checking other things first, though. So P-Train's still in the lead, I would say.
What's it gonna be, chat? It was the Green Pendant!
Well, we are in
Wow!
Gummo at 1 hour, 13 minutes, and 32 seconds. P-Train enters Go mode. We'll just have to clear Vitreous. Just go straight back to the back half of Mire, shoot a bunch of arrows at Vitreous's eyeballs, and then we're good. Again and on.
So Swamp was hard required this seed.
Yeah.
Wow, that's just this seed. I swear, with this version of the logic, you cannot trust Green Pendant Swamp to have nothing. That's what it's looking like to me from sitting here.
I mean, out of the 7 items that are tied to Green Pendant Swamp, 3 of them were item locations. Or like actual items, Fire Rod, Book, and the Cane of Samaria, of course. And there's still 2 items left in Swamp Palace, which might have been some other items that, you know, we might not need, but... Yeah, could have been a red boomerang, could have been a mushroom, could have been ether.
Wow, this seed pulled a pretty nasty one there at the end. Wow. Can't say I'm not surprised by that because this is version 31, but it's what it does, but still. Oh, Lord have mercy.
It was like, it started out kind of nice, and then it just fell apart. P-Train trying the spooky action got it there after like a couple tries.
One thing I should take time to learn once I'm done with Challenge Cup, but I'm also leaning towards maybe some other things. But hey, who knows what the future holds? I'm living things one day at a time up in here.
And of course, with silver arrows, Vitreous is not a challenge. Fun fact, actually, did you know that Vitreous, outside of Ganon, is the only enemy in the game that can be damaged by arrows but takes 2 silver arrows, or more than 1 silver arrow?
Yeah, it's because Vitreous has more HP than what the silvers deal.
Indeed. Everybody else that you can hit with silvers does not. And chat already starting to put numbers in there. So we have the Big Key Guessing game. Leslie, why don't you tell us what the Big Key Guessing game is?
So, chat, get your numbers in because the big key is anywhere between chest 1 and 22 in Ganon's Tower. See who gets it right here. I dropped in at 12 because, well, there's a bit of a story behind that I won't get into at this juncture, but maybe another time.
I'm gonna say 18 because I usually guess 14, which is Bob's chest if you do Hope Room and then go left. But since it's gotten very attractive to do right first, I'll just set 4 for the right side chests. And 18 would be Bob's chest. If you do right side, then mirror out and do left side.
Sometimes the game doesn't allow you to go right after the Hope Rooms.
Well, there might still be a Dark Magician in there somewhere. Alright, so we're gonna see the Turtle Rock portal here from P-Train. And then we're gonna walk over to Ganon's Tower and we're gonna slay some pigs.
This is where the fun begins, folks. Because after this, you take the only RNG left really is Aghanim. And then it becomes just an execution gauntlet. So really, this part of the game is really... It basically tests your execution skills.
Oh, yes.
And that's what makes it fun to me. Like, one of my pre-race rituals has become busting out the practice ROM and practicing Aga 2 patterns for a good 10-20 minutes.
Yeah, Ganon's Tower is like the one part where, especially once the big key is found, it's basically just pure execution. Routing decisions.
Wow.
Oh,
That was quick.
That's a 1.
So whoever picked number 1, guess what? I gotta go a little crazy town here and say that, yes, you can't say we are number 1, because that's where the key was.
It would be Jiggly Sink and Trinix, both guessing 1. So congratulations, both of you get 1 random seed that you can make yourself.
JP's cleared Swamp Palace. Let's see what his next move is. We know what move is the right one, but let's see what his next move's gonna be.
Yeah. And of course, like, from P-Train's perspective here now, there really is nothing you could hope for. 3 bottles. I think P-Train did stock up on potion, if I'm right. Red Mail, Fire Shield, Gold Sword, Silver Arrow, Half Magic. There's absolutely nothing you could wish for.
Okay, let's see. JP did go the route of checking the Bombos tablet, which was nothing. And going back into Swamp, or something else? Something else, thankfully. Because that reset would not have been worth it.
Nice one cycle here from P-Train on the Lamolas with the silver arrows.
Seems like JP's making the turn to Sahasrara.
Good, because that's where JP will find the bloody Cane of Samaria. JP has not been to Super Funny Cave though, so it's still untempered. But it's not like that does not make that much of a difference. Master versus tempered is like the big thing, but tempered versus gold is not that much of a time difference there.
JP's on his way into Mire. El Tigre near finishing off Swamp as Old Man Sunshine heading in that direction.
And up on top we are. P-Train's gonna pick up the key here from that Helma. Doesn't even need to powder the fairies here. Just can wrap the magic and go on. We have so many hearts and red mail, so there's really no need to heal up. That's a very nice combo too. Oh, and Peach's like, you know what? May as well. But does not get the hover, sadly.
If you know how to hover, go for it. I can't blame you. There is one thing worth noting should you be playing a boss shuffle atomizer. If this boss turns out to be Cold Stare, you have to take the shell off before you can get out of the room.
Mm-hmm.
It's literally the only thing that keeps you from just hovering on all the bosses, which I find interesting, admittedly.
It looks like El Tigre is the only one so far of our 4 recent runners to go back in to Swamp Palace. The question's open is if Old Man Sunshine is going to do it as well, because Old Man Sunshine is doing the first trip through Swamp here, but Tigre is indeed diving back in. Let's see if there's anything there. It can't be anything useful, but, you know, it might be, like, cape might be a light convenience item. Otherwise, like, whatever.
See how the agonometry works out today. Not a very good pattern, but still doable. Makes it work into a triple. I'm gonna have to remember that one. And a blue ball rears its ugly head. Just needs 2 hits now. And another blue ball. This would have been a 3 cycle if not for that last one. But a 4 cycle's good all the same.
Yep, P-Train takes down Aghanim 2. Meanwhile, JD takes down Vitreous, so we'll be hot on P-Train's heels, just to Ganon's tower between them, basically.
So here we go. The Ganon fight for P-Train. And Buttersword goes through both Phase 1 and Phase 2 very quick at only about 6 or 7 hits each.
And P-Train utilizing that NMG dash strat there. I love seeing that. That is always so cool.
For those looking to learn that strat, how tricky can that be to execute, or is it fairly simple. Just throwing it out there.
It's actually really difficult to get the positioning just right. Easy as it may look, a lot of strats look easy, yet are actually really hard. Oh, missed the torch glitch there, but meh. Half magic, and we have silver.
Ooh, hang on. Hangs on nicely and gets that fourth hit. Down goes Ganon. There's our bacon. Get your GGs in chat for P-Train. That was very well done.
GG's indeed. That was a really nice run. P-Train basically read this seed.
And with that, pick us up before we get to see that's a new one.
So,
anyway, P-Train wins on Restream and overall with an official time of 1:25:30, beating out Zelda Dusan by 21 seconds.
Yep, Zelda just finished in second place there, a couple seconds later. And P-Train's already ready to join us here. Hello, P-Train. GG's, and congrats on the win.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
So you read this seed like a book. That sequence break is what separate where you got both Ice Rod and Titan's Mitts separated you from everybody else, and they never caught up.
Yeah, those Titans bits were pretty big. As I was finishing, I figured that's what it was. Because the seed was kind of rude. I mean, you had Hookshot and Ice, which people tend to put off. Then you put Kane behind Pendant Swamp, which even more people tend to put off.
Yeah, that was also Boots and Armos with the bow in Desert, which was like kind of like a weird logic chain there with the flippers in Swamp leading to the Mitts to do Desert.
Flippers were in Pod Basement, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really rude. Because the other bow were technically locked behind the flippers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There would have been a way to get the bow in Mire before getting the bow in Desert, but it was not going to be very likely for anybody to pick that up.
Yeah.
I think all 4 restream runners picked up the bow in Desert first. But yeah, that was man. Was a lot of basically an Oops All Dungeon seed, more or less, without TR.
Yeah, it was a weird seed for sure. I was hoping for the hover seed, honestly. Like just the way the items were laying out, I was like,
yeah.
Really all I needed was Kane, and then I found the hookshot, and I was like, well, crap,
Yeah.
Didn't want to find this in Ice Palace.
Yeah.
So
those hovers in Hookshot Cave were very impressive.
I would have rather have gotten the Moldorm 2 hover, but
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a fun seed. When I found Hookshot in Ice, I felt really bad, in particular if it was French Vanilla or Vanilla Kane, because that means I could have go-moded Ice Palace and then just hover GT. So I decided to check Mire before Swamp. When Mire came up empty, I was like, well, let's just hope we need this Hookshot for something. And then I got the, hilarious fetch quest. I was able to skip a good bit. When I found I got the Fire Rod. So my first thought was like, well, I guess we'll check out Skull Woods, because I avoided that the entire season.
Yeah. And then the book dropped.
Yeah, then the book dropped, and I was like, well, let's just gamble everything on the book. And then I found the shovel. Shovel led to a heart piece. I'm like, well, maybe it's Green Pendant. After that, I was going to have a weird decision, because I didn't know if I wanted to go to Skull Woods and hope the Fire Rod was useful, or just gamble Ether. I probably would have done Ether first, just because I felt like Ether would have been better for me.
What makes a question that I think would be interesting is why you did not go to Left Side Swamp, because there was like still 2 items, I think, in there, right?
Correct. It was just honestly hoping that it wasn't required.
Okay.
There were some tactical skips. Like I skipped the Hera basement, and because I skipped the Hera basement, I also skipped Spike Cave because I wanted to have more of a reason to come back rather than just the Hera basement.
Mhm.
So that was a tactical skip, and I just kind of hoped. Also, at that point, I was 1 item from go mode, so I was kind of shooting for item density. Also, I think at that point I still had Pyramid Fairy and Escape, so I opted to do those checks rather than double back for Spike Cave. And I just figured I would save Spike Cave for whenever I came back for Hera Basement anyways.
Mhm.
I also skipped Skull Woods because I wanted to eventually route that in with Graveyard Ledge and possibly Bumper Ledge. I never found the cape, but that's part of the reason why I was skipping Skull Woods. I almost did, because I had the mirror and the mitts and all this other stuff, and I had this wonderful overworld route. But then I realized, I'm like, Pod and Eastern with Sahasrara is probably a better, if you're looking at chess per minute, that's probably a better play than doing Skull Woods, scouting Bumper Ledge, and then doing Graveyard Ledge, even if you follow it to Catfish and Nora. So I was like, well, let's go ahead and do, not really Pod Eastern, but Death Mountain was a better chess per minute. So then I decided, I'm like, well, if we're going to make that play, let's go ahead and scout the Mire area first, check desert, see if we need boots, and then I found the bow. So I didn't want to go up to Death Mountain without a way to clear out Hookshot Cave. So I opted for, and they were both crystal sleeves, so I opted for Eastern and Pod over that. And, then found boots, and I was like, oh, okay, well now I can full clear Dark Death Mountain. And after that, I just kind of went for either crystals or item density.
Yeah. What was really interesting is like early on, during this seed, like everybody was like going to entirely different directions. It wasn't like until everybody got bottlenecked by those mitts and the flippers they were locked behind that people converged back into doing basically the same things. But at the start, it was basically everybody going in their own directions. It was pretty cool to see.
Yeah, the fake flipper play, like I can definitely see people skipping it. It's just with I usually do it anytime I have the Moon Pearl, and then to have the flute as well, it just made it that much quicker.
Yeah.
So that's a little pet play of mine. I really like to do the play. I don't swear by it. People might say it's a bad idea, and they might even be right, but I just enjoy the play, and it paid off very well this season.
Absolutely, yeah. Speaking of paying off, JP is on Ganon now, so we'll be going into phase 3 here already. We're gonna make short work out of this pick. He's the only one who has not found the 4th sword. I think the one in Super Funny Cave was the one that they missed.
Yep, it was. Never even touched Dark Death Mountain until Go mode.
Oh man, that would have been nice.
Oh, and the pedestal we saw in P-Train's credits here was just the boomerang, the red boomerang in particular, because we already found the blue one. The rebound rod.
That's not a name I was expecting, because I had something else in mind, like some sort of magical reflection rod in a future Zelda game that they might come up with. I don't know what I was thinking. Anyway, get your GGs in chat for JP, who's finished second on our restream with an official time of 1:33.54, and that is 5th place overall. Our most recent 2 finishers prior to that were Plasma Kappa at 1:29.27 and Lin at 1:30.34. That's your top 5, folks.
Send help.
I think this seed needed it.
Yeah.
Personally. That's just me.
Alright, so we have our bottom 2 runners here still on the lookout for the King of Samara. El Tigre is doing all those overworld checks that they skip, doing their best to avoid landing in the green pendant, while Old Man Sunshine is diving into mire and has not done the back of swamp. No, has to have done the back of swamp, right? Because yeah, it's tracked on the dungeon is tracked, but not the book. So that was what confused me there. Is gonna go actually hand in the green pendant, both of them at the same time. So be into go mode within seconds of each other. I mean, Bruce, JP joining us here. GG's, JP.
Thank you.
GG's, JP. That seed was a well-played one, and, well, a sequence break was how P-Train pulled away from me on that one.
Yeah, when I found those myths, I was a bit disappointed, and I kind of felt the seed just slipping away from me at that point. Basically, last location, the myths, that hurts.
Well, at least those weren't like so badly dug into the logic that it was like that much of a time loss. We were like not even 10 minutes behind P Train, who finished it first overall as well. So
Yeah, it might have helped me in the end because it made me make some decisions that maybe I wouldn't have normally made in a normal seed.
Mm-hmm.
Some that did pay off. So
do you want to know where the gold sword was that you missed that everybody else got?
Sure.
It was in a Super Bunny Cave, so you could have gotten it basically on the way to Ganon.
I was never picking that up.
Yeah.
I had tempered in silvers, no chance.
Yeah. There's really no reason to.
Yeah, for me, I did the fake flipper right after checking Ice Palace. So I had mitts before I had the hammer. And after that, the seed kind of routed itself. I could have gotten to the bow a little quicker. I probably should have done the mire area, maybe even desert, before doing Village of Outcasts area. But yeah, I had mitts, hammer, moon pearl, entered the Dark World at Hype Cave, worked my way up to Thieves Town, opted to leave the Skull Woods in North Dark World to go do the mire area, and that got me my bow. The bow, it led to the boots, and then I went up to Dark Death Mountain for not a whole lot, and then finally did Escape, and Uncle found Bombos, and that led me to Ice Palace, got the hook shot. I dove mire before doing swamp, but ended up doing swamp very soon after it.
I did the same. I did dive mire, hoping to find the cane in there, and it didn't pay off, of course. What probably saved me a little time was I didn't full clear swamp. Basically, once I got the green pendant, well, I got the book, so I went and checked Bombo's tablet first. Then I turned the green pendant in.
Yeah, same. Did you do the shovel?
I did not.
I did. Piece of art.
I would have done shovel right after green pendant. Basically my plan was, if it wasn't on green pendant, I was gonna leave my portal at swamp, go back in to check the last two items.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I completely abandoned left side. I skipped a lot in this scene. Left side swamp. I never touched Skull Woods, Graveyard Ledge, Catfish, the Zora area outside of the fake flipper play. I also skipped Spike Cave and Hera Basement.
Yeah, I did some of those. I mean, after the last locationing myths, like I said, I made some plays. I did end up skipping some stuff at least. I never did Dark Death Mountain. I never did Smith Chain. Anything else? Didn't do Ether Tablets. That was about it.
Yeah, I did most of that, but I also had bits early with the mirror. So it would have been a little silly not to do it, given my route.
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't think anybody did Ether Tablet, so because that one's sort of the way. But what was really funny to me was like when you went into Swamp and First you find the fire rod, then you find the book. It was like, and then like Bob was able to drop the shovel. It's like all those single one-off checks everywhere on the map.
Actually, Fire Rod I don't think really did much beyond ensuring you can get through GT.
Yeah, I didn't know the Skullwoods layout, so I was a little nervous about Fire Rod just in case there was somebody
there was
YOLO
one-
swamp without a shot. And then
Yeah,
found
there was
something
one item in the back of Skullwoods in the fire lock.
No, there wasn't.
Oh,
I
there
got
wasn't?
both items in the front.
Huh. Okay.
Okay, so then Fire Rod was literally useless then.
The only use for Fire Rod would have been if the big Q was on right side GT.
Okay.
Which it wasn't.
Yeah, that cost me a little time too since I went full right.
Ooh.
Yeah,
I did. I was doing Dark Magician strat, so it was actually my first check.
What is my collection? Oh, 139 is actually not a bad collection for me. I mean, this has been better than some of my recent seeds. 5th out of about 20. A bit of a redemption after last week's seed, so.
Well, I missed that one, so I mean, this was a better seed than the last one I played, to be fair.
Yeah, you were never going into Turtle Rock. I mean, Gomo being in a Pendant Swamp is a little bad, but that's not terrible.
With the hook shot being an Ice Palace, I would say that's kind of rude, actually.
Sorry to interrupt, but Old Man Sunshine was behind El Tigre when they entered Ganon's Tower, but because Old Man Sunshine went to check the torch earlier, he pulled ahead. So it's actually going to be quite a tight race between those two.
I think it's really funny that both JP and myself have the exact same collection rate.
Oh, yeah, you too!
Dude, how long did it take you to open those checks?
Yeah, I think that's just you getting the mitts earlier. That's what probably helped you get your checks in a little faster.
Yeah, mitts early, bow early, boots early. It's probably the difference.
Yeah, I don't know how boots were a little behind for me, so that definitely hurt a little bit.
Well, you had to get if you're following logic, you had to get the flippers out of Pod, so you could get the mitts off of Waterfall Cave, so you can get the bow out of Desert, so you can get the boots off of Armos.
Yeah.
Which is kind of ridiculous.
It is. Not the most ridiculous thing I've seen in this randomizer within the past week, rather. Gonna leave it at that. What are words?
But yeah, I appreciate the restream, guys. I appreciate y'all commentating. I appreciate the trackers, I believe Sapphire and Mr. Scruff Ninja Tuna. But I do have to take care of some things, so run some errands.
Yeah.
So I appreciate the restream, but I do have to head out.
Yeah, same. I've got a football game to go watch.
Yep. Who you cheering for, by the way?
Probably obvious by my name, but yeah, I'd go for Packers.
Well, I can get you out of here with some good news. They're up 7-0.
All right, sounds good. Thanks.
All right, GG's, guys.
Thanks. Have a good day.
You too.
Take care. Thanks also to B-Train, and of course, as mentioned, Mr. Scruff Ninja Tuna and Sophia Klaue, our trackers for today, keeping us honest and up to date. So, but yeah, we're actually entering like a really exciting part here in the race as well, because our bottom two runners are just rooms within each other. So this can be anybody's race here to take the third spot for.
LT
We're having a bit of
trouble in
that Wizrobe room.
Yeah, Wizrobe 2 just gave him a bad time. That room does that some.
Yeah, it looks easy, but getting that Samaria block and the that fourth Wizrobe in one cycle is actually very difficult, I feel. But it's very satisfying if you do manage to get it.
Yeah, because sometimes what happens with that particular room is sometimes the spike slider commits goaltending.
And Moldorm 2 goes down here for Old Man Sunshine.
El Tigre getting the magic refill, about to start Moldorm 2.
Yeah, they're
While
basically...
Sunshine leaves behind the last possession of Moldorm.
Yeah, they're basically just one room apart from each other, so getting Aghanim 2 a little badly might actually give El Tigre the lead. And El Tigre leaving leaving one of the bombs that they got out of Moldorm's chest there, just to rub it in. That was a nice.
I like doing that myself. I mean, I picked that up from Fred Coughlin, who's done that in a number of different Link to the Past render scenes. Like any chest NPC he sees that annoys him, bomb.
Yeah, the ever popular rage bomb or frustration bomb. And Tigre having a little bit easier time with Aghanim 2's pattern here than Old Man Sunshine had, at least for the first wave there.
And done, both about the same time, so it's going to be about, I want to say a 10, 12 second difference, just eyeballing it.
Yeah, so like Old Man Sunshine dropped into the pit at 146.28. So we can see what El Tigre is gonna drop in at and compare.
Yeah, I was just eyeballing the math off the top of my head.
It's 20 seconds. 146.48 for Tigre, so 20 seconds between each other. Old Man Sunshine using lag strats. That might actually give Tigre a little bit of time to catch up, because of course with lag strats everything's a bit slower.
Yeah, unfortunately, without the cape, that's sort of what you have to do. Tigre just taking it. The health resource took a bit of a hit there, but some time was made up as a result.
Indeed.
This is what it comes down to. Phase 4 execution.
Yeah. And Old Man Sunshine does get the torch glitch with the firewall there. It's actually a bit easier than it looks, because if you hit the firewall shot as the last tile falls, you get the torch glitch there. Because that's when the torch goes out and the last tile falls.
Good to know that timing.
It's nice stuff. Oh, Tigre pulled ahead!
With a better execution, pulls ahead at the very end as Old Man Sunshine finishes off Ganon. We're going to get the times momentarily as El Tigre is through.
GG's to both of them. That was very tight until the very end.
Oh, yes, it was. And now Old Man Sunshine is through. Here's the times. El Tigre, 148.21. Old Man Sunshine, 148.27. That is a
finishing
second difference.
Yeah.
GG's to both. That was awesome.
That was pretty cool. Taking 14th and 15th place respectively, and just 1 second. I think 1 second less, and it would have counted as a tie if this were a race, because I think it's like 5 seconds difference. So
2 in the tournament. So
two. Okay.
Still,
still,
that was impressive.
Yeah, that was impressive. That was very, very close. Looked like Old Man Sunshine had this, but at the very last second, Tigre pulled ahead, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah, Tigre had the better phase 4 again, and that's what decided it at the end.
And we have Old Man Sunshine and Tigre joining us here. GG's to both of you. That was very clutch and at the end there.
Dang it. Beat me by just a little bit.
That was very entertaining too to
Yeah.
see how that unfolded.
Yeah, you had Ulman Sunshine. You were like 20-ish, 15, 20 seconds ahead of El Tigre. Is it by the way, is it El Tiger or is it El Tigre?
El Tigre.
Okay, so you were like 15 or 20 seconds ahead of El Tigre, and but El Tigre pulled ahead during the Ganon fight, so that was really cool to watch.
Yeah, I fumbled a bit in the Ganon fight. I figured that wouldn't help me much.
That's
but
cool.
yeah.
I'm glad the stream got to see something entertaining out of that run. It was kind of a slog for me, especially towards the end there. I was getting frustrated.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Yeah. I've Tigre, I have a question for you. Do you hate Sahasrara?
I do kind of hate going to Sahasrara. I think it's kind of popular for people, like, once they get the green pendant, to just go straight to him and just get that done with. But I don't know. I just wasn't feeling it this round. I'm like, I still have all those chests kind of on the west side of the Dark World pretty close together. And so it's just like, let's just see if they're there. And obviously that was not the correct choice, but
it was because I know that during it because that you did everything that wasn't green pendant, more or less.
Yeah, I had one unchecked location. I had the book or the tablet up on Death Mountain, and that was the only one left. So yeah, pretty brutal.
But yeah, it was still very fun to watch both of you because both of you went to Sahasrara just about around the same time. So the lead changed between you two every so often, and that was pretty fun. End to the race here, very clutch.
That'll be fun to watch when I go back.
Oh yeah, I'll have to check that out too.
Well, I guess it could have been worse, but it still wasn't that great. Picking up King that late.
Yeah, I think just everybody actually kind of lost location that Kane. Like there were some one-off checks that other runners have left had left. Like P-Train didn't do left side, and JP I think skipped some other things as well. So like at least those of those that have been on the restraint. So there were still a good amount of locations there, but.
Wish I'd skipped him.
Yeah, yeah. It was like a lot of one-off locations left. Like after P-Train came out of Swamp, it was still like a lot of like stupid one-off locations left, especially with the Fire Rod and like the book and everything. So...
Yeah, that's what I was looking at. I'm just glad I went to the green pendant before I started doing any of that.
Yeah. Yeah, in fact, the Bombus tablet, which you actually skipped, Oldman Sunshine, the Bombus tablet had the shovel as well. So
no, actually, I got that one.
Oh, you got that one. Okay, then one of the trackers must have forgot to push the button there, but that's
or the tracker ate the click, whichever one.
That's
the tracker will.
It loves
trackers
clicks.
do that sometimes.
Yeah, it just swallows, or like on marks or whatever. Tends to be a bit pig-headed.
No, right after Swamp, I ran over there to check it. So.
Yeah. So yeah, what did you those mids were like in a really dumb location, and the flippers as well, and
Yeah, as soon as I found the mitts, I knew anyone who fake flippered already had them. So I was like, well, I'm behind them.
I did the exact same thing.
P-Train did, by the way.
Yeah. The only one on Restream that did it was P-Train. So.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
And it finished first.
Yeah. It's like it rarely pays off, but when it does, and then you didn't do it, it just feels bad, man. But that's how it goes sometimes.
But it does monkey with the logic, so you have to keep it in mind. And sometimes I'm not very good at that.
Yeah, so the hunt for King of Samaria and the hunt for the myths was basically what made this. What was very interesting as well early on, because like there was so much open, like the seat early on dumped all that stuff on everybody, was that everybody did something else. There was a whole bunch of divergence until everybody got bottlenecked by the Mitts and the King of Somaria later. So that was pretty fun to see as well.
Yeah, pretty early Dark World access, Hammer, Gloves, and Moon Pearl all really quickly. So it opened up pretty right away there. And yeah, I guess it's cool we all went different ways.
I think I did so badly I triple dipped Eastern. Once right at the beginning, once after I got Lamp, and then finally I got Bow.
I remember that, yeah.
Because at the time I had nothing to get through the dark room that would show me where I'm going, so it's easy, but at the same time you could also get lost pretty easily too.
Yeah, that dark room, like if you get lost, I feel like the most dangerous part is like that circle room with the switch.
Yeah,
that one.
Turned around. Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely a hazard that can happen with dark rooms, is you can easily get turned around so quickly.
Yep.
Just like that happened to me in like within the past month in the dark maze. I'm like, yeah, I'm lost.
I do that sometimes.
Yeah, that one especially, you can just sink a whole ton of time trying to find your way out.
Yeah, Dark Maze and
Palace of Darkness, yeah.
Yeah, and the Mire dark rooms as well, I feel are pretty
yeah, those you're one pixel off, and the whole thing just collapses on you.
Luckily, that was not the case this time.
Yep. Yeah.
What was with all the B torps, by the way?
Oh yeah, all four bottles had bees in, and one of them. Somebody threw the bottle into the Pyramid Fairy pool, and she also gave out bees.
Oh, for crying out loud!
It's like V-Torp himself rolled this seat or something.
He's laughing somewhere. I can hear him.
Yep, I can imagine it too.
All right, so I think we should think about wrapping it up here. Thank you everybody for watching. If you are wanting to see more rando action, there's the tournament over on Speed Gaming main between Goomba and Magnificent going on. They're like already like an hour or so in, so probably missed a whole bunch there already. That said, at 10 p.m. Eastern, over on Speed Gaming main as well, is going to be the Zelda 1 Randomizer weekly race, which is going to be a newer feature showcase. Apparently, they got a new version, so they're going to show off what new features they're added there. So if you're interested in that, the Zelda 1 random is actually really interesting to watch. So make sure to check that out if you're still up then. Otherwise, thank you for the runners here that have been on the Restream P-Train, JP, LT Gray, and Open Sunshine, as well as Synums, who sadly had some issues with the stream earlier. And GG to all of you. Thank you also to our trackers, Mrs. Scruff Ninja Tuna and Sophia Klaue, who did the tracking and pushing the buttons and keeping us informed. The Restream and Speed Gaming Network as well. Thank you. And of course, thank you, Leslie Pro, for co-commentating this race for me. It was a pleasure.
It definitely was a pleasure. It was a lot of fun. And to say we had a lot of hype coming off of a very successful AGDQ, I'd say this race delivered and then some.
Indeed, it absolutely did. Was exciting till the very last second. And yeah, so unless our runners have any last words?
Nope, good game.
Nope, just thanks for commentating, guys, and
Yes.
GG's. See you next time.
All right, make sure to follow our runners and the trackers and Leslie, and don't follow me. And I wish you all a good evening, and go check out that Zelda 1 rando. That is really cool.
It is certainly going to be, and as someone who plays Zelda 1 Rando, I may check that out, if not actually jump into it. We shall see.
Indeed. Take care, everybody. Bye.
Yep, take care, y'all. See you next time. Hype!